Thank you, Kishan, for that very kind and very heartfelt introduction, which, as you said, is the start of an important journey together. I would also like to recognize a few other people in attendance. First, the Honourable Selina Robinson, BC Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, joins us today. Thank you, Selina, for being here, in spite of all the other important things you have to do on the island. Selina is also my co-chair of the Federal Provincial Territorial Forum of Ministers responsible for housing. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of Mayor Gregor Robinson, who has long been a great housing advocate. I'm also very glad that you can join us today. Gregor, we have valued your inputs over the past 2 years. It's always a great pleasure to visit you in your formidable and so wonderful city. We also have two invaluable members of my caucus, our caucus, Dr. Hedy Fry, Member of Parliament for Vancouver Centre, and John Aldag, MP for Cloverdale Langley City. Both John and Hedy are very much appreciated in Ottawa. I know how difficult it's been to extract them from the Ottawa bubble today. I'm very proud of having you around me today. And last but not least, we have Evan Siddle, whose dynamic leadership, team leadership as CEO of Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, has ensured our government is at the forefront of housing innovation. I know how significant, how challenging the pressures have been over the last 2 years with the new government, but I can testify that you have worked very hard, that the results that you will hear and see in a moment are tremendous. But again, this is only the start of a very important journey. Merci à vous tous également d'être présents aujourd'hui pour l'annonce de la stratégie nationale pour le logement. Thank you all for being here today for our announcement of Canada's first ever National Housing Strategy. Je suis très heureux d'être ici à Vancouver avec vous pour dévoiler la stratégie dans cette ville où depuis le début de nos échanges sur le logement, j'ai eu la chance de venir à 7 reprises pour rencontrer les différents groupes et partenaires. I'm very pleased to be here today in Vancouver, a city that I have had the great pleasure and privilege of visiting 7 times. I think it's more than any other city in Canada, perhaps except Quebec City, where my family lives, since the beginning of our housing consultations. Home, if you will permit an economist like me to quote a poet like T.S. Eliot, home is where one starts from. A home is a refuge. A home is a launch pad. A home is where we can be ourselves and become who we want to be. Home is a place where children learn and grow, where families share stories around the dinner table, and where seniors can live in dignity. Better housing makes better students, better children, better neighbors, better workers, and better citizens. Today, we're announcing the future of housing in Canada over the next 10 years. A future where Canadians have a home that meets their needs and that they can afford. Today, we're making a bold but intuitive statement that people should be able to live, grow, and work in a neighborhood that meets their needs with access to public transit to go to work, to childcare and education for their kids, and to healthcare for their family. Today, we're proud to say we are back. The federal government is back in housing and in a big way, with more ambition, more money, and a greater desire to collaborate. As we speak, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is in Toronto making a similar announcement with my friend and Parliamentary Secretary Adam Vaughan, the same statement I'm about to make, which is the launch of Canada's first ever National Housing Strategy. Canada's first National Housing Strategy is the most ambitious demonstration of federal partnership in housing in half a century. It will ensure that we are reducing homelessness by at least 50%. We are helping 530,000 households to find suitable and affordable housing. We are creating 4 times as many new housing units as were built with federal money over the past decade. We are repairing 3 times as many existing housing units as repaired with federal money over the past decade. We are protecting an additional 385,000 vulnerable households from losing an affordable place to live. La priorité de notre gouvernement est d'aider les gens de la classe moyenne et ceux qui travaillent fort pour en faire partie. La stratégie nationale sur le logement est un élément clé de notre programme. Nous allons commencer par aider les familles les plus vulnérables. Across Canada, there are 1.7 million families that live in homes that are either unaffordable or don't meet their needs. To them, the National Housing Strategy is more than a list of programs and outcomes. It is a message from all Canadians and to all Canadians. We heard you, we are here with you, and we're going to help in several ways. First, we want to make clear that housing rights are human rights. That is why we will enshrine into law the requirement to maintain a national housing strategy that targets the needs of the most vulnerable among us and report to the Parliament every 3 years on the results it will produce. To make sure this commitment does not remain wishful thinking, we will empower Canadians to keep the government to its word. We are establishing a federal housing advocate to allow persons with lived experience of housing need to voice systemic barriers that they live. We are creating a national housing council that promotes evidence-based analysis to support the national housing strategy. And we are developing a community-based tenant initiative to ensure that people in housing need are better represented and better able to participate in housing-related decision-making. Empowerment is also about giving Canadians necessary tools to face their daily challenges. Too many Canadians live somewhere with a leaky roof, crumbling stairs, or a smell of mold. In the worst cases, Canadians face impossible choices. Should I rent an apartment that is safe, or buy my kids enough food? Should I stay with my abusive partner, or risk a night alone on the streets? Should I stay in the home where I raise my family, or move out so I can pay for my prescriptions? We are committed to help Canadians to face those tough choices. Starting in 2020, Canadians will have access to a new Canada housing benefit that will provide 300,000 Canadian families an average of $2,500 per year. À compter de 2020, les Canadiens pourront bénéficier de l'allocation canadienne pour le logement qui permettra à environ 300 000 familles canadiennes de recevoir en moyenne 2 500 $ par année. Nous reconnaissons que les différentes régions du pays ne vivent pas avec les mêmes enjeux et les mêmes conditions de logement. Recognizing that no one region faces the exact same challenges and the exact same conditions, provinces and territories will be instrumental in the success of the Canada Housing Benefit. C'est pourquoi les provinces et les territoires joueront un rôle déterminant dans le succès de cette initiative. Over the next couple of months, we will be working with provinces and territories and asking them to co-design, jointly fund, and deliver, with support of municipalities and other partners, the new Canada Housing Benefit. With the National Housing Strategy, we also acknowledge that we are stronger when we show a united front in addressing housing challenges. That is why the National Housing Strategy lays the ground for a renewed and a stronger collaboration among an expanded number of partners. Our historic and primary partners, the provinces and territories, but also Indigenous partners, municipalities, the cooperative and the not-for-profit sector, as well as the private sector. Partnership is the cornerstone of the new National Housing Co-Investment Fund, a fund that will create up to 60,000 new homes and repair up to 240,000 units of existing affordable and community housing across Canada. Nous prévoyons également voire 7 000 nouveaux espaces dans les refuges pour les victimes de violences, 12 000 résidences abordables pour nos aînés et plus de 2 400 logements abordables pour les personnes qui vivent avec un handicap. Additionally, the National Housing Strategy is confirming news that non-profit housing partners have been waiting for years. We are committed to ensuring that Canada's existing community housing stock remains affordable and in good repair for years to come. Together, the Canada Community Housing Initiative and the Federal Community Housing Initiative will protect 385,000 vulnerable households from losing an affordable home and will help 50,000 more families through an expansion of community housing. Our government believes also, and very genuinely, that we have no more important relationship than that with Canada's Indigenous peoples. We also understand that unique approaches are needed to improve housing outcomes for Indigenous communities who face the worst housing conditions in Canada. Notre gouvernement travaillera et travaille avec les partenaires autochtones pour élaborer conjointement des stratégies de logement fondées sur des distinctions et financées par le gouvernement fédéral en collaboration avec les Premières Nations, la nation métisse et les Inuits. Our government is therefore working with Indigenous leaders to co-develop federally funded, distinctions-based housing strategies with First Nations, the Métis Nation, and Inuit leaders. These strategies will be founded in principles of self-determination, reconciliation, respect, and cooperation. Ces stratégies seront fondées sur les principes de l'autodétermination, la réconciliation, le respect et la coopération. In conclusion, today is the beginning of a new era for housing in Canada. Aujourd'hui est le début d'une nouvelle ère pour le logement dans notre grand pays. Our goal was a national housing strategy built by Canadians and for Canadians. And today we are delivering precisely that, with a strategy that all Canadians can be proud of and can support. A strategy that will bring relief to some of our most vulnerable populations, including seniors, Indigenous peoples, survivors of family violence, people with disabilities, young adults, refugees, veterans, sexual minorities, and those that are experiencing and have unfortunately experienced homelessness. I am excited and energized about what lies ahead, and I look forward to embarking on this important work in collaboration with all Canadians and all Canadian partners. Merci à tous. Thank you so much. And may I now turn to Minister Robinson.